Thank you for both kind introduction and the applause. I hope you will see my slides eventually. So as it has been said, this presentation is going to concern the film Hopa, lide. Hopa, lide is a film. There we go, Hopa, lide. So this is this film. It is the film that we made in collaboration with Romani musicians in Slovakia. It was completed in 2023, but it is based on my long-term ethnographic fieldwork dating back to 2013. And it's been a while, it's been here for a while already, so it's been screened around the place. It has had like 40 public screening. It is even online, so you can scan the QR code and watch the film if you are interested. And moreover, there's a review coming to MMRC Journal as far as I'm concerned, so you can read about it there as well. But when, preparing for this particular presentation, I was thinking, I've talked so much about the film itself, but I haven't talked much or at all about what is behind the film, that is the driving force of the entire film. And these are the music videos that I made with Romani musicians. And I thought it would be nice to present this for this audience particularly, because you may hopefully get inspired. Maybe you are already wondering whether you may use some ethnographic music video making in your own project. So this presentation will be structured as follows. It's going to be a bit of a puzzle. So firstly, we will immerse ourselves into the music videos themselves. We will see a little bit of making of behind the scenes, so that you can imagine the creative processes behind making these videos. And finally, I will tell you like 3 most important lessons that I've learned while using music videos as ethnographic method. Let's immerse ourselves into the first bit. So without further ado, I will try to put the video on. Let's hope it works.
Keď to roztočíme, sedět sa nedá, no tak pridaj sa k nám. V kúte neseď sám, s hudbou je život krajší. S hudbou je život krajší. S hudbou je život krajší.
No, nie je to frázované.
O nás každý vie.
Neponáhľa sa. O nás každý vie, že keď to roztočíme, sedieť sa nedá.
No tak pridaj sa k nám.
Už je dobre, už vieš.
O nás už každý vie. Keď to roztočíme, sedieť sa
Keď to
nedá.
roztočíme, už tam je. Nie. O nás už každý vie. Keď to roztočíme, sedieť sa nedá. No.
Ale o tom vraví, že Peťo vraví, som to
Že už
tak
nedáva,
ako
tak
Keď
nedáva.
to roztočíme, sedieť sa nedá. Rozumieš, to je tak,
Nie.
to frázovanie.
No skús.
To nemáš, keď to roztočíme, ako ľudovku tu spievaš. Keď to roztočíme, sedieť sa nedá.
Keď to roztočíme, čo ja viem.
Keď to roztočíme, sedieť sa nedá.
Keď
No
to roztočíme, sedieť sa nedá.
I want to, vieš, on to tak spieva tvrdo.
Ale melodicky
On
to
doberá.
musí byť stále.
Daj to ešte raz.
Ja chcem dnes spievať, ja chcem dnes spievať, na pódiu s kapelou vám zahrať, zo srdca zabávať, zabávať vás. Wow, zahrávam kapela snov.
So that was the first immersion, protagonists of the first chapter, Barna and Martin Cibulia from Nuska, amazing musicians who decided to make a cover version of the famous Queen song I Want to Break Free, but in their own rendition with the original, well, not original, the lyrics in Slovak and Romani. Okay, let's immerse into the second chapter of the film. Let's have a look.
Stalo by som si to nejak tak, keď samozrejme režim OP by išlo preč, že vlastne by sa ukázali tieto dvere a jak náhle by sa pustila hudba, tak tie dvere by sa iba otvorili, obidvoje a vlastne tu by všade bola tma. A vlastne tu by sme museli rozvesiť nejaké svetla, aby vlastne bola taká biela ulička, áno, svetiel. A takto vlastne tá kamera by išla postupne ku spevačke, ktorá by bola, vlastne sedela tam na stoličke pri tom oltáriku. A tu by vlastne sa tu začala spievať spevačka, takže vlastne tá kamera by musela ísť trochu rýchlejšie. A tu by vlastne bola už tá hneď spevačka. Ona by proste začala spievať a jak ona začne spievať, lebo to bude hrať cymbal, ju budeme ja doprevádzať. A na to sa hneď napojí hudba. A to som rozmýšľal. Že toto by sa dalo dať preč, aby bola hudba. Akože myslím bicie, basa, doprovod. A to mám také portréty, kde napríklad je taký, kde je tvár človeka, tak to vlastne drží si ruku, ale nemá ucho. Hej, a k tomu by som vlastne dal taký citát, že napríklad ľudia sú málo empatickí a málo sa počúvajú. Takže je niečo také, lebo to je táto skladba je ako taký menší odkaz aj ľuďom, lebo si myslím, že ľudia sa navzájom až tak moc nevnímajú a to je, myslím si, že to je celkom dosť teraz problém.
Of the second chapter of the film, Hopa, lide, Dalibor Cibulia, a musician from Klenovec, coming from very old musician's family. At the time of the shooting, he was only 20 years old, but he had a very clear vision how his music video is supposed to be done. So he was very active in production. Not only he composed the whole piece, wrote lyrics, but he also wrote the musical arrangement and also made a catering for the set. So amazing musician, amazing effort again. Let's watch the third immersion.
Nemáme.
Megafon do frasa, jak to?
Neviem nájsť.
Tyjo, to je škoda.
Ahoj. Počúvaj, naozaj, že ty si mal diktafón, sme mali v autobuse? Vieš, ten veľký, ten onen. Keď sme išli na východ, ten bielý.
Ale ja skade by som ho.
No, skade, on nemal. To nemal, pravda, že? A na čo by si to aj potreboval?
A čo je to diktafón?
Megafon.
Megafón, to je to, čo sa tak kričí do toho, keď štrajkujú.
Skade by som ja také mal.
Hej, však si nemal tedy. Prídi, o 11:30, hej?
O koľkej hráte?
Nie hráme. Točíme videoklip, chceme aj s tebou natočiť.
O koľkej?
O 11:30 na sobote budeme.
Dobre.
Deve estar amentrar nas Malo sveto zambe piravas Lero menge ame giravas Lero menge ame palikera Deve esquechaven amenza.
So that was Vladimír Sendrej, man of many professions from Kokava nad Rýmavicou, and among many other things, he is also lead singer of the band Sendrejovci or Kokavakáre Lavutara. And he basically came up with the idea for this music video that eventually turned out to be also the title song of the entire film, Hopa, lide, lide. Okay, let's now turn the page because we saw a bit of this puzzle, but we are missing these three things that I promised at the beginning. So what were the three greatest lessons that I've learned from making music videos with my research participants, musicians from Slovakia? So I think the first one, and the most important one, was that music videos turn out to be a great method for, giving this wheel of representation, of one's representation to the people. What I mean is that, we, that is scholars and who are engaged with collaborative, participatory research and so on, we very often take this as the core thing, to give the voice to the community, to empower the community, and also give some agency over this representation. But when you implement such projects in practice, you very often find yourself, you're basically embracing a little bit of utopia. For example, when you produce a film, there's so many stages under which you don't have any control, from funding, pre-production, production, distribution, and so on. And you basically, I think one of the most significant power structure here is the capitalistic documentary market, just to be very clear. So what I mean, it's sometimes very hard to pursue such participatory project without very hard to put them in practice. What I mean is that music videos are a perfect way to pursue this because they are small scale, although they can be scaled up significantly. You can do it with very limited amount of time, with very limited budget. Basically all music videos that were made for Hopa Lide were shot within 1 to 2 shooting days. And what is also important to know that even people with no prior experience with video making or filmmaking are actually able to direct their own music videos. So that's the first important lesson. Music videos are really great for giving the opportunity to express themselves, express your participants in a way they want to be represented. The second important lesson is that it is amazing quid pro quo model that is, again, in collaborative, engaged, and participatory research. We are very often asked, what is the thing that you bring back to the community? What is the participation fee, quote unquote? And this turned out to be extremely effective in my case because I approached my research participants in late 2021 and I told them, I have this idea to make this film about your community, but I don't have any money to pay or to refund you for your time, which sadly was 100% true. And but I told them, but in a way, I can pay you, or I can give you back this. I can give you the music videos. And they were all extremely happy to embark to this project because the music videos themselves, they actually turn out to be very much valued, not just for the business side, that is, this is something that musicians can later commodify, but it also has immense value for the family of musicians, for keepsake and so on. Last but not least, the third lesson was that something that I called ethnographic re-immersion. My story basically was that I finished up my ethnographic thesis. It was March 2022. I submitted it, and my idea was to go back to the field, make a film, and not to touch the manuscript of the thesis. But after the fieldwork, I had a strong feeling that I should actually rewrite half of the thesis because of so many things that I've learned through making the video. To give you one example, I can actually show you last video excerpt from the project. Let's have a look.
tam se kurí mojej milej z komína. Kde se kurí, tam se kurí mojej milej z komína. Včera večer chleba piekla, horela jej perina. Včera večer chleba piekla, horela jej perina. To perina, ale štíri za hlavky. To perina, ale štíri za hlavky. Čo jej mamka nakúpila od olaskej cigánky. Čo jej mamka nakúpila od olaskej cigánky.
So back to the original idea. You know, when Vladimir Sendrej, who proposed me this music video, he told me, you know, I would like to make this music video where I will just reenact all the stereotypes that non-Roma people hold towards Roma. That is, you know, Roma live in hut, they have red skirts, and they are dancing barefoot. I was like, oh, should I really, you know, support this, you know, from my point of view of a scholar? And then I was so happy that I didn't put him off, because I learned so much through making all the videos, but this one particular, you know, I spent a lot of time reading and theorizing what is it like to put Romanes in display, to be Roma in like during the professional performance. And then when I was part of this process, when I learned, you know, what it means, for example, for their business, but also for, again, what values it creates for the community, it just like taught me a great deal about my field again. Okay, I think that's about it. There has been a recent article that pretty much summarized everything related to Romani representation in the film Hopa lide. So if you're interested, you're welcome to read it, and you're more than welcome also to visit the film's website, which is here. On the website you find not only the film itself, but also all the music videos and plenty of other interesting information about the film. And I think the time's up, so thank you for your attention. I'll be looking forward to your question.
Thank you, Petr. So we'll open it up for questions, if anyone has anything. Maybe while everyone's thinking of questions, I've got one. Oh, there is one. Malik.
Yeah, thank you for this like methodological reflection. I think what is really nice about your approach is that you were becoming, so to speak, the contractor of the musicians, and so that they had to explain to you a lot of things that we are usually interested in. And then maybe we sit down with musicians and talk about songs in order to find out, yeah, what did you intend with this? But they had to, like in this second example, he had to explain to you what he was like, what his artistic concept was, the message that he wanted to convey. And you didn't have to ask him, but it was in his interest to get this message over. So I think this is like a good way, if you find like something that you both can work on, is yeah, very, very good. Could you maybe say a bit, if there was anything, were there also problems or detours before you reached like this level of very constructive and productive collaboration?
Yeah, it's a good question. Thank you. I guess one of the most significant challenge was, you know, because their time is extremely precious. For example, the protagonist of the first chapter, Martin and Barna. So Martin actually has 4 kids at home, and that is something that you can see in the film, that he is actually working on boat in Germany, you know, entertaining rich non-Roma, and then when he goes back home for a short holiday, you know, he needs to, obviously, not that he needs, but he loves to be with his kids, with his family. And all of a sudden there's this gajo guy telling him, no, you need to make this video because it will have significant impact for your career. So I think this was one of the most significant challenge, to actually persuade the musicians that this will be good and it's worth spending time on. But if you're asking whether there were any like disagreements for whether for the music video or for the film itself, I don't remember anything like strong enough. We discussed all of it. My participants, saw it before it went public, and all of them were happy with how they look, both in the videos and the film.
Are there any other questions?
I have two small questions. One being, it's really fascinating, and I was wondering whether that idea of video music making as a method in ethnomusicology, whether you've encountered it in other places, in other cases, if you've drawn inspiration from it, and secondly, what kind of skills are necessary from your side as a researcher and filmmaker, or maybe also what who else do you need to then hire to to be able to have these kind of productions?
Yeah, great questions again. So I'll start with the first one. It's not something. Okay, I have not been directly inspired by some other work, but in parallel, when I was working in Slovakia, there was a special issue of Visual Anthropology journal, the one in Italy. It's actually called Visual Ethnographic Journal, and this Visual Ethnographic Journal had special issue that is titled "Ethnographically Grounded Music Videos." So I highly recommend for you to check this. There are plenty of cases. There's Dario, forgot his name. Sorry about that. I will look it up for you. But Dario's work in Grenada, and there are other ethnographers working in Brazil and so on. So there's whole bunch of other case studies of ethnographers who use the music videos as an ethnographic method. And for me, I actually figured out as basically virtue of necessity, because I really was desperate. I had a desperate passion and a need to make this ethnographic film, but I just didn't know how to tackle this. And then all of a sudden, it's just why don't I make the music videos? Because the musicians, they're not so interested in having the film. Of course, the film is cool, but who's gonna see the film? But the music videos, something that they can, put on their YouTube and become immediately famous. So this was the rationale behind it. And for the second question, this is something I've been working with for some quite a while. So for me, I was the only person in the field, which was honestly the challenge, because I was both making the videos and documenting the process of making the music videos. So when I was telling this to my production supervisor, how are you gonna make it? You're only one body in the field. How are you gonna make film about how you make the music video with the musicians? So you need to check it for yourself how it actually looked at the end. But honestly, my situation was special because there was huge budget constriction. I have very little money for pursuing this project. I guess if you are lucky to hire the whole crew, production manager, DOP, sound person, you will have much better product at the very end. So I highly recommend not to do it alone. Although you can watch YouTube videos how to make music videos, and you can self-educate in this, but it's much better to actually work on this with a little crew, let's say.
Microphone here, thanks.
Thank you so much. It strikes me there's almost a reversal of roles. So rather than you working with the musicians as your interlocutor, you have become their interlocutor in a way. And I'm wondering how that played out, because I'm looking, for example, at the title Hopa lide. Maybe I missed it in your presentation, but I'd be interested to know how that overarching framework of Hopa lide was chosen, what it means, why you chose this particular graphical representation of it. Maybe you could comment on that. Thank you.
Yeah, well spotted. So Hopa lide, what it means, it's actually a little bit cryptic, and I would probably need more time to explain it properly, but it doesn't mean anything which is significant for the music culture that I study. It's a playful mistranslation. Basically, it is the cover of an original song, which is Hopa lile lile, and the role of lile lile is interjections like la la la, tra la la, and these kind of things, so they don't have any meanings. But this gentleman with the hat and the blue jacket, he actually came up with, if I put lide lide, it's gonna sound like Hopa ludia ludia, which is cheer up, people, people, but it doesn't make sense. It's very grammatically incoherent and not very semantically clear. But I find it like 100% significant because this is how Romani music works. Actually, it doesn't have to make always sense to have this powerful meaning. And did I answer your question? And yeah, I guess the first one was more complex about my involvement as being their interlocutor, which is interesting. Yeah, it's a nice way to look at it from this perspective. Absolutely, yeah.
Janis?
Hi, and thank you very much for the beautiful presentation. I would like to ask you, I mean, I realize that in your methodology you decentralize yourself to a great extent, but in the end you write a paper on this experience as a researcher. And I wonder how actually do you come back from this experience to write as an individual, and how did you work with this material you co-created somehow? Did you apply traditional methods of analysis, or I don't know? That's my question.
Right. Just to rephrase the question, whether I understood properly, you asking me like whether I reflected on the. Sorry, what would you?
No, I mean, you presented a participatory methodology, but then you come back to your positionality as individual researcher to write about it, and I wonder how you do that. Did you analyze your material like to answer certain research questions, or?
Yeah, that's a good question. Now I understand. Sorry, I didn't grasp it at the beginning. It's a good question. I guess like my method is to let the film speak for itself. But I need to do like some sort of academic washing because in many ways the film is not yet, in the context that I work in, that is Czech Republic and Slovakia, is not yet seen so much as academic work. So what I was doing, I actually wrote this article and I'm writing another one. So I reflect on this in academic terms, but I don't do anything with the film itself. I consider this as a like close universe of me collaborating with Romani musicians that should speak for itself. You're welcome to watch it by scanning the QR code after all. And then I do some like ex post academic reflection. So that's my sort of yeah.
We might finish up there just to move on to the next one, but I'm sure other questions, you can have a chat over lunch if you've got more for Petr. Thank you very much. Well,